Hello, good people of YouTube. Sealord here, and today we are going over my top 5 removed premium ships. Premium ships because when Techline ships get removed, they tend to be transformed into resource or premium ships like the Großer First or the Masva. Removed, meaning that in the case of this game, these are ships that are no longer available for outright purchase, and in most of the cases on this list, they aren't even in a lot of event containers, and most of these ships, I believe 3 of these ships, you just can't get anymore in any way, shape, or form. Sealord, why are we talking about ships that we, the audience, cannot obtain? Well, because it's entertaining, and I think it's interesting to look back at what has been removed from the game and has remained on Wargaming's naughty lists. And in the case of several of these ships, I do think they could probably be reintroduced with very little changes because the game has kind of caught up to their OP-ness, if you will. Now, I know some of you are probably also wondering, hey, isn't the giveaway supposed to start today? It is supposed to start the day of this video being released. However, I record my videos in advance. So there's going to be a bit of delay from the giveaway commencing and you guys seeing the winners popping up in videos or in community posts. So just know that yes, today the first winner for the giveaway is being selected, and congratulations to whomever you are. I don't know, this is Sunday Sealord recording this video, so yes, it is starting today, but you probably won't really hear about it until either Tuesday or Wednesday in a video, because I gotta get the bot to select the winner, then I gotta get in touch with the winner, and then they gotta get back to me. So of course there's a bit of a communications delay there, but yes, it is starting today, so make sure you check your notifications and such for your comments on last Monday's video. Also, if you're interested in Starfield, that was this Sunday's video, so if you didn't see any notifications or whatever and you're interested in seeing what the game's like, you can check out my video on it from yesterday. But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get on into the list. Coming in at number 5 is the one, the only, the legendary Tier 8 American aircraft carrier, the Enterprise. Now, Enterprise used to be absolutely just cracked. When this ship was released all the way back in RTS CVs, the Enterprise could easily just make cruisers from tier 6 to tier 10 just pop in one run. This thing was absolutely cracked back in the day. And today she's not so much. Now, she was really strong after the CV rework as well. And you could, in one run, not using, your several squadrons like back in the RTS days to make cruisers and battleships pop in 1 or 2 passes, but you could really nuke just about any cruiser that you could see that had anything short of amazing deck armor with one run of her AP dive bombers. However, there has been many a global and many a direct small nerf here and there that has made the Enterprise no longer quite the OP machine that she once was. She's a hell of a lot more balanced now. Her strong suit back in the day after the Commander rework was that, of course, she had her amazing AP bombers, but also her rocket planes and her torpedoes were also really, really, really good. However, there's been quite a few changes with regards to dive bombers and such, and that has essentially nerfed the AP bombers. Now, of course, if you manage to get the bombs to connect, they're going to wreck your face, but you can't basically do it every run like you could back in the day with the AP dive bombers. And her rocket planes, those things were amazing for just good, consistent damage. However, we have the 5-second firing delay with rocket planes now, so those got quite the nerf too. There's a clip somewhere out there, and I don't know what video it's in, and I've uploaded over 2,000 videos at this point, of me using the Enterprise post-Commander rework, and I bomb one light cruiser, almost nuke it, but then with my rocket planes I pick up 3 kills, just bang, 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 using the rocket planes that are in a single squadron, again before the firing nerf. So that has most definitely been nerfed. Now, she is still one of the better tier 8 carriers, right? But keep in mind that in today's World of Warships, there's quite a few interesting things at tier 8 when it comes to CVs. Mainly the Chikolov and the Colossus does exist. So she's not quite the powerhouse she used to be, but she is still a very strong CV. And one that I do think you could probably introduce back into the game, and it's going to be stupidly popular because it's Enterprise. History nerds love it. Weebs love it. People that like strong ships in the game love it. So it's going to be incredibly popular if they ever do re-release it, which is probably why they don't want to release it full bore. But she does occasionally pop up. I believe she's in the American Air Power containers, and you can still acquire her in the Santa containers at the end of the year if you were so lucky to do so. I don't think she's really worth gambling for because, again, it's a good CV, but she's not near what she used to be, right? So not worth the investment. And of course, it's a pixel object, right? So it's not worth dumping hundreds of dollars into the game to get. But taking us from number 5 to number 4 is the König Albert, the tier 3 premium German battleship. So König Albert, take the tier 4 Kaiser, shove it down to tier 3. You got a König Albert now. She is essentially what Musashi is to Yamato to the Kaiser, right? So you have a tier 4 battleship at tier 3. So you get tier 3 matchmaking, and you get pretty darn good secondaries as well if you do have a secondary captain, which I'm sure most of you German battleship commanders out there, at least the ones that watch this channel, probably do. So you can imagine she has the same advantages that, of course, the Musashi has a tier lower. Same with her as well, except of course the insane overmatch potential because she doesn't have 18.1 inch guns, but she has a lot going for her at tier 3, mainly really the tier 3 matchmaking. And what's really helped this ship out is that since her release, Wargaming has added in bots at tier 5 and below, because most players don't really play there. You spend really like maybe 5-6 games below tier 5, or I should say really below tier 4 if you're first getting into the game. And then after that, you get to tier 5. That's where the grind kind of really starts. So there's plenty of players around there. But tier 3 back in the day, you used to sit there and queue for forever. And when you would get in a match, it'd be like a half full match. So the König Albert couldn't really perform all that well. However, now that bots are a thing, you can throw a secondary build on your König Albert and again have a Kaiser a tier lower and just go to town on the bots and make an incredible amount of credits using it if you do have one. So she is, again, essentially what Musashi is to Yami at tier 4 in regards to the Kaiser, and she's one of the rare OP German premium ships. There's not too many German premium ships that are overtuned, overpowered compared to some other lines. There are some very, very, very good German premiums out there right now. I know part of the general groupthink toward wargaming is that wargaming hates Germany, but I mean, Germany's got the Mecklenburg, you got the Aegir, you got the Mines, and so forth and so on, right? Some of the better premiums of the past couple of years. But yes, if you do have a König Albert, you have quite the powerhouse on your hands, especially if you like playing German battleships like German battleships. Going down to number 3, we have the Nikolai I. So, the Nikolai I is another, just slightly different Gangut, although she was released far before the Gangut. She has a much more conventional gun setup than the Gangut. The Gangut and the October Revolution, you got the weird situation where one of the turrets, number 2 turret, is facing toward the stern of the ship. This makes it quite awkward when you're trying to get a full salvo, a full broadside salvo out on the opposing ship, because you either have to wait an eternity for that number 2 turret to get around, and you still have to wait for the number 4 turret as well. So a lot of times when you're having to shift from side to side, which if give the turrets facing toward the stern means it's got to go the long way around, you really have 6 guns to make use of. So that'll lead you to some awkward situations where you find yourself showing a little bit more broadside than you should, and well, now you're getting punched for it. But with the Nikolai, you don't have to do that. You can just shove your bow toward the enemy ship, and now you have 9 guns at your disposal. And when you need to shift slightly to port or to starboard, you still have all those 9 guns on target, and they're a bit more accurate than you would expect for a ship of her tier. So you have accurate guns with a much more convenient turret setup, with all the goodies you get with a Soviet battleship, right? The AP and all that jazz. So you have yourself a real powerhouse of a Soviet battleship here, and of course Soviet bias and all that jazz. And because of that, she was removed for being, well, just too darn good. And she was recently, I think last year, I say recently, but last year, my mind, time is just, what is time really? No, but a human construct, if you will. But anyway, she was removed, I believe, last year outright from the game, and there's no possible way to get the Nikolai I anymore. Same with Koenig Albert, I forgot to mention it there. These two have been completely removed from the game. There's no way to get them, be it Super Container, be it Santa Crate Container, or anything like that. So these two are just gone. But going on down to number 2, we have the Tier 5 Italian battleship, the Giulio Cesare. Now, the Giulio Cesare is a legendary ship. She is so good that she's one of the very few, I think maybe even the only premium that Wargaming has outright tried to raise up in tier. This is after her removal as well, fellas. So, a good summary of the Giulio Cesare is that she has decent everything for her tier. Decent armor, decent guns, decent speed, decent maneuverability. All at tier 5. Now, usually at tier 5, typically most of these tier 5 battleships have to give up something. Be it maneuverability or speed. Like, let's take the American battleship, for example, the New York. You have great guns. You have 10, 14-inch guns at tier 5. That's great. 20-knot top speed, right? So, when you have a ship like the Giulio Cesare that doesn't really give up much of anything because it's just decent all the way around, you have a ship that is incredibly powerful because it's just good at everything. What's really funny too is that the Giulio Cesare still has the old German battleship dispersion, so her guns really aren't that accurate at all, but they are quite potent when they do punch. It's got that Italian AP, the high velocity AP, so when they do connect, it's doing quite a bit of damage. It's biting pretty good into the target, and if it's a cruiser and you do catch a Citadel with a couple of these shells, they're going to be having a bad time. Keep in mind you're going up against mostly tier 5 cruisers, and this is a ship that really doesn't mind being up tiered at all, because again, you got good maneuverability, good speed, decent guns, so it's just a great ship all around. There's no one thing with the Giulio Cesare that outright makes her OP. It's just that great at everything, right? Now, she was removed from the Santa containers, but I do believe she is still in super containers. So, again, if you are lucky enough to pick her up in a super container, you got yourself one heck of a ship here, fellas. And going on the way down to our number 1 slot, we have the ship that broke the game's economy, the Tier 9 American battleship Missouri. In particular, the old Missouri. So, Missouri was the very first ever Tier 9 premium ship in this game, and she was also the first free XP ship, which free XP ships aren't a thing anymore, sadly. Now, what Wargaming did here is they forgot that Tier 9 ships, their economy is pretty good. So when they were making a Tier 9 premium ship, they cranked up the economy a little bit too much. In Missouri, turns out if you could get it, you could simply enter into a battle, do minimal work, and make profit. Make a lot of profit at that too. So naturally, of course, this led to quite a few players getting the Missouri, and she's a free XP ship. 750,000 free XP. Now, when she was originally released years and years ago, that was a pretty tall order because XP boosters and credit boosters weren't near what they would become, right? You still have to work quite a bit to get 750,000 free XP. However, as time went on, it became increasingly easier and easier and easier and easier to earn free XP. And eventually the Missouri was replaced with the Musashi, but she was put into the Santa containers. And if you threw enough money at the game, you could get a Missouri. But then, they pulled her completely. Now, they did reintroduce Missouri, but it's impossible to get this Missouri. There is a new Missouri in-game with a appropriate Tier 9 economy, which is still a good economy, don't get me wrong, but it's not the old Missouri economy. And by the way, Missouri itself is an objectively completely mediocre battleship. It's an old Iowa with the old American battleship heel. She does not get the improved American battleship heel that the Iowa gets. And with the armor scheme and today's meta, it's not that fun of a time. Now, she does have radar, so there is that, right? But I would definitely trade that radar for Iowa's hill if I could on this Missouri. But you don't really have to do that good with the Missouri. That's the point of it, with its OP economy. You just have to do well, and you'll easily make 1,000,000 credits. If you have an absolutely banger of a game, you're probably making 2, if not 3,000,000 credits, depending upon what economic bonuses you are running on your Missouri. So, even though you can pick up a Missouri in the game, it's not this Missouri. One of the few ships that Wargaming has completely removed, reworked its economy, and reintroduced back into the game in a different form. So guys, that's my top 5 removed ships. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and include your removed ships list, if you would, in the comments down below. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 75,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Remember to check your notifications for last week's Monday video to see if you have won one of the ships that are being given away in the 50K giveaway. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.